Have you ever wondered if the most powerful fertilizer for your plants might already be sitting in your kitchen, and that billion-dollar companies are doing everything they can to keep you from finding out? Imagine this: while you're paying $10, $20, sometimes $30 for a shiny bag of chemical fertilizer, nature has already prepared simple formulas that cost you almost nothing and can give you healthier leaves, stronger roots, and bigger harvests. Today, I'm going to reveal 5 secret fertilizers that big companies don't want you to know. And trust me, when you see the results, you'll understand why they would rather you never discovered these at all. Let's face it. The gardening industry is massive. Every year, chemical giants spend millions on advertising campaigns to convince you that the only way to grow strong, healthy plants is to buy their latest miracle formula. The packaging is colorful, the promises are bold, and the prices keep climbing higher and higher. But here's the truth: those expensive fertilizers are often built on the same basic nutrients you can find for free in your own kitchen. They just don't want you to realize it. Because if you did, you might stop buying their products, and that would hit their profits hard. That's why this video matters. I'm not just giving you a list of do-it-yourself hacks. I'm showing you how to break free from the cycle of dependency that companies have carefully designed. These hidden formulas don't just save money, they give you back control. And if you've ever felt frustrated watching your plants struggle despite spending so much on fertilizers, you're about to see another path. Here's what we're going to do: I'll share with you 5 of the most effective kitchen-based fertilizers. They are simple, they are cheap, and when used correctly, they can outperform some of the most expensive brands on the market. But don't skip ahead, because the last one on this list is so powerful, it can completely change the way you look at plant care. And if you don't use it carefully, it could also cause problems. Stick around until the end so you don't miss the warnings that could save your plants. Alright, let's get started with secret number 1. Secret fertilizer number 1, rice water. Rice is a staple in kitchens all over the world, and if you cook it regularly, you probably throw away one of the most underrated fertilizers every single time. I'm talking about rice water, the cloudy liquid left after rinsing or soaking rice. What looks like waste is actually loaded with starches, vitamins, and small amounts of minerals. And here's the secret: those compounds become food for beneficial microorganisms in your soil. When the microbes thrive, your plants thrive. So how do you make it? It's as simple as rinsing a cup of rice in clean water. After swirling it for about 30 seconds, you'll notice the water turns cloudy. Instead of dumping it down the drain, collect it in a container. You can use it immediately or let it sit for up to 24 hours to slightly ferment. Just don't leave it too long, because it can start to smell and grow harmful bacteria. Now, how do you use it? For most houseplants and garden vegetables, rice water should be applied about once every 2 weeks. Simply pour it around the base of your plants as you would with normal watering. The starches will encourage microbial activity, which in turn releases nutrients in the soil more efficiently. Think of it as giving your soil a probiotic drink. Healthier soil equals healthier plants. But here's the critical warning: rice water is not a more is better situation. If you use it too often or in large quantities, you risk suffocating the roots and promoting fungal growth. I learned this the hard way when I first experimented. I poured rice water every single day on my basil plant, thinking I was boosting it with extra nutrients. Within a week, the leaves turned yellow and the soil smelled sour. I had basically drowned the poor thing in a sugary soup that the wrong microbes took over. That experience taught me that moderation is key. When applied correctly, though, rice water is amazing. I had a tomato seedling that was weak and slow to grow. After 2 careful applications, spaced 2 weeks apart, the difference was shocking. The stems grew sturdier, the leaves regained a vibrant green, and I could clearly see new growth. The best part? It cost me nothing. Meanwhile, big companies were trying to sell me a $15 growth booster that essentially promised the same result. So remember, rice water is your first secret weapon. Use it lightly, use it wisely, and your plants will thank you. Secret fertilizer number 2, banana peel power. Next on our list is something almost everyone throws in the trash without a second thought: banana peels. What if I told you those yellow skins are a natural treasure chest of potassium, magnesium, and small amounts of phosphorus? These nutrients are essential when your plants are entering their flowering and fruiting stages. Potassium, in particular, is like the spark that triggers blossoms to open and fruits to swell. Here's how to unlock that power. Start by collecting a few banana peels. You have 2 main options. First, the soak method. Chop the peels into small pieces, place them in a jar of water, and let them sit for about 48 hours. The water will absorb a cocktail of nutrients that you can pour directly into your soil. The second option is even more powerful. Dry the peels completely, grind them into a fine powder, and sprinkle it around your plants like traditional fertilizer. But timing is everything. Don't use banana peel fertilizer on seedlings or young plants, they don't need the extra potassium yet. Save it for when your tomato plants are just about to bloom or when your peppers are forming tiny buds. That's when the nutrients make the biggest impact. Now, let me share a quick story. A few summers ago, I had a small pepper plant that looked healthy but just wouldn't produce flowers. I tried a standard commercial bloom fertilizer, but it barely made a difference. Out of curiosity, I made a simple banana peel soak and watered the plant once every 2 weeks. Within a month, the plant was covered in blossoms, and soon after, I had more peppers than I knew what to do with. Was it magic? No. It was just the right nutrient at the right time, something the expensive fertilizer had promised but didn't deliver as dramatically. Of course, there's a catch. If you leave the banana peel soak sitting too long, it will start to ferment, attract fruit flies, and smell terrible. So use it fresh and never keep it more than a couple of days. And remember, balance is key. Too much potassium can interfere with calcium uptake, which brings us to our third secret. Secret fertilizer number 3, eggshell calcium boost. Calcium is the quiet hero of plant health. While nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium get all the attention, calcium is the nutrient that strengthens cell walls, builds sturdy roots, and prevents a problem many gardeners know all too well: blossom end rot. If you've ever picked a tomato or pepper and found a black, sunken spot on the bottom, that's a classic calcium deficiency. And guess what? You're probably tossing away a perfect source of calcium every time you make breakfast. Eggshells are about 95% calcium carbonate. When properly prepared, they can provide a steady, slow-release supply of calcium to your plants. Here's the method. First, rinse the eggshells thoroughly to remove any residue. Then let them dry completely, either in the sun or in a warm oven. Once dry, grind them as finely as possible. The finer the powder, the faster the soil microbes can break it down into a form that plants can absorb. Sprinkle the powder around the base of your plants, or mix it into the soil at planting time. For potted plants, a tablespoon or 2 every few weeks is plenty. But be careful. Simply crushing eggshells into large pieces and throwing them in the soil won't do much. They take years to break down that way. Grinding them into powder is what unlocks the benefit. Let me share another quick story. One season, my tomato plants kept suffering from blossom end rot. I tried adjusting watering schedules and even bought a commercial calcium spray. The results were disappointing. Then I remembered my grandmother's advice: save your eggshells. I ground a batch into fine powder and worked it into the soil around the plants. Within weeks, the problem practically disappeared. The new tomatoes grew firm, healthy, and blemish-free. And again, it cost me nothing. This is the kind of secret companies don't want you to know. Why? Because they want you to buy that $15 bottle of calcium spray instead. But with a few eggshells and a grinder, you can achieve the same effect, without spending a dime. By now, you can see a pattern emerging. Each of these secret fertilizers is simple, natural, and practically free. Yet they target very specific plant needs that companies often charge you heavily for. Rice water boosts microbial activity, banana peels supercharge blooming and fruiting, and eggshells provide the calcium backbone plants need to stay strong. But we're only halfway through. The next 2 secrets are even more exciting, and the last one might completely change the way you think about feeding your plants. Just remember, use them wisely, avoid common mistakes, and you'll unlock a level of gardening freedom that the fertilizer industry doesn't want you to have. Secret fertilizer number 4, compost tea, the golden drink for soil. If rice water is like a probiotic for your soil, compost tea is the full health tonic. Gardeners often call it liquid gold because it delivers billions of beneficial microbes straight to your plants. While a compost pile is powerful on its own, turning it into a tea makes those benefits immediately available. Here's how you do it. Take a small amount of mature compost, about a shovel full is enough, and place it in a porous bag or an old pillowcase. Submerge the bag in a bucket of water. To really supercharge the brew, add an air pump or stir frequently to keep oxygen flowing. Let it steep for 24 to 48 hours. What you end up with is a rich, dark liquid full of microbial life and soluble nutrients. Now, how do you use it? You can apply compost tea in two main ways. First, as a soil drench, pour it around the base of your plants to boost the root zone. Second, as a foliar spray, mist it directly onto the leaves. This not only feeds the plant but also helps suppress certain fungal diseases by coating the leaf surface with beneficial organisms. But here's a crucial rule: compost tea is alive. That means it doesn't keep. You should use it within a day or two after brewing. If you store it longer, the microbes die, and the liquid can turn anaerobic, which is harmful instead of helpful. Think of it like baking fresh bread. It's amazing when fresh, but you wouldn't eat it weeks later. A quick story here. A friend of mine had a cucumber patch that constantly battled powdery mildew. She brewed a simple compost tea, sprayed it weekly on the leaves, and within a month the difference was visible. The mildew was kept in check, the leaves looked healthier, and the harvest doubled compared to the previous season. She didn't buy any expensive fungicides, just relied on what nature already provided. That's the hidden truth. Compost tea can replace multiple chemical products at once, which is exactly why big companies would rather you not discover it. Secret fertilizer number 5, legume or bean water, natural growth hormones. Our final secret is one of the least known but most powerful: the soaking water from beans, lentils, or other legumes. When legumes soak, they release compounds including natural growth hormones called auxins. These auxins stimulate root development and help young plants establish themselves faster. Here's the method. Take a cup of dried lentils or beans and soak them overnight in clean water. Strain the water the next day and set aside the liquid. That's your fertilizer. For seedlings and cuttings, use it once every 2 weeks as a gentle root stimulator. For mature plants, apply sparingly to avoid overwhelming them. When I first experimented with this, I had a tray of weak basil seedlings that weren't growing well. After giving them a small dose of lentil water, their roots exploded with growth over the next 2 weeks. The difference was so clear that I started calling it my secret rooting potion. And while companies sell expensive hormone powders for the same effect, you can achieve similar results with beans you already have in your kitchen. Again, moderation matters. Too much legume water can encourage fungal growth or leave the soil too damp. But with careful use, it's a secret weapon for early growth stages that very few gardeners know about. Deadly mistakes you must avoid before you rush off to try these secret formulas. Let me give you a warning. The difference between success and disaster often comes down to avoiding a few simple mistakes. Overuse, more fertilizer does not mean more growth. Overfeeding can burn roots, stunt plants, or cause diseases. Skipping dilution, some of these solutions need to be diluted with clean water. Undiluted compost tea or rice water, for example, can overwhelm plants. Improper storage, fresh mixes like rice water, banana soap, or compost tea should not be stored for long. They lose potency or turn harmful within days. One-size-fits-all thinking, not every fertilizer works for every plant. Banana peel works best for blooming plants, eggshells help tomatoes and peppers, legume water is best for seedlings. Tailor your use to the plant stage of growth. If you make these mistakes, you could actually hurt your plants instead of helping them. And that's the irony. Big companies count on gardeners giving up after failed experiments and returning to expensive store-bought fertilizers. But if you use these secrets carefully, you'll see real success. Outro plus call to action. So there you have it. 5 secret fertilizers that big companies don't want you to know. Rice water to supercharge microbes, banana peels to trigger blossoms, eggshells to stop calcium deficiencies, compost tea to flood your soil with life, and legume water to kickstart roots. Each one is cheap, natural, and effective, yet hidden in plain sight because they don't make corporations money. Now it's your turn. Pick one of these secrets and try it on a single plant this week. Take a photo before and after, and share your results. You'll be amazed at what happens when you stop depending on overpriced fertilizers and start trusting simple, natural solutions. If you found this video helpful, hit that subscribe button and join our growing community of gardeners who are breaking free from the system. And don't miss my next video, where I'll reveal natural pest control tricks that the chemical industry really hopes you never discover. Remember this, the secrets are out, the choice is yours, and your plants are ready to thrive. Don't let anyone convince you that you need to spend a fortune. Nature already gave you everything you need.